I made like, I think it was 8, 9K. In April, I won 14, 15K, but the best result so far was last month on May, where I made like over 18K. This is like almost a dream coming true because I really wasn't expecting that. 10K monthly for me would be like amazing already. Making over 18K was just like, oh my God, this was almost like life changing.
Jakub here. Today we are going to talk with one of the mentorship's most successful players, someone who after years of mediocre results finally made it and booked a 14k month, then raised the bar even higher with a massive 18k month. We'll discuss his journey, what made the difference between mediocre results and the current ones, how he managed to achieve such great success, and finally the habits that helped him get there. Let's get started. Yeah, when you joined, your EV, if I remember, was like a -7 BB or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And I remember you ran over EV. I was like, I never seen this, so I thought it's must be an error in the graph, you know. I don't know if I would work with you if I really think that you're -7 BB winner, because it's like it's really hard. It's not a good starting point, you know. But I was like, okay, this must be some mistake with the calculation and rake.
Back then I was playing like in some high VPIP games. So instead of paying like normal 10, 12 big blinds per 100 in the regulated site, I was paying more like 25, something like that. So rake was definitely an issue.
That's interesting. So actually, you were a good player, or you were a winning player, but the rake you paid was high, but you got back that in the rake back. So actually, it was pretty funny
Mhm.
because um, I guess my instincts were correct to kind of not trust the graph, but at the same, yeah. So it's kind of funny how it worked out. Yeah. So let's say, how was your decision making process back in days when you started? Like,
Before, my A game was more like my C game right now because when I'm on my C game, I don't go through my normal thinking process. I don't think enough in each hand. So
Mhm.
I usually like act way quicker. So I don't give enough time to think about. But back then, I think I just didn't know exactly what to think about.
Mhm.
So there was just like, okay, so I have like a good hint. What's the best size? What is the best sizing I should use here? And why does this board is good for my range? Does this board is bad for my range? I mean, those were like some questions that I actually had, but I didn't have like not a clue of what would be the answer. It was very different experience playing poker compared to now because I have like somewhat similar questions in my thinking process, but now I have more answers to those questions. So it's definitely like a massive difference.
Every complex game or every complex system is kind of made of simple fundamental things which or rules which you can understand, then you understand the game. That's why it seems that before you use the same type of logic, but now you actually do so much better. So I guess I can good analogy, a golf player, you know, Tiger Woods,
Hmm.
does same thing as you would do, you know, he hits the ball, but there is so
Yeah,
much nuance in the hitting the ball, right? So,
yeah.
so that's good.
I think
We
it's like
also,
a very good analogy.
so one thing which is interesting is that now you kind of return to the same games, right? So when you started,
Mm.
you actually abandoned these games and went to play on public games on GG Poker or other big sites. Can you describe
Hmm.
your experience on these sites, or?
It's important to mention that these games that I'm playing right now, all the games are with tables with minimum VPIP. So back then, I was kind of new to PLO-6, and I didn't even have like an understanding on how the 40 flop works. Like, what categories of hands are good and six card, which ones are bad. So I have like no idea, and it was much harder to play. And then I switched to the normal and regulated sites where there's no such need of minimum VPIP. By switching to these games, I could really understand and learn the heuristics of preflop in six card. So I get like a pretty good understanding how the game works and what kind of hands are good in each situation in each stack dev because it's very different. Like a hand, some some kind of hands they are good like at 500 50 BB, but the hands that are good in 200 or 300 big blinds are very different.
Mhm.
So back then, I mean, I really didn't have like this understanding and knowledge. And when I switched back to those games with VPIP, it was just like so much easier, so much easier.
So we went through this journey. This is probably your 10th month. If you
Hmm.
look back to the 10-month period of the mentorship, what were your expectations coming to the mentorship?
Yeah, that's actually like very funny because in the first months of mentorship, my results weren't like very good. I was basically break even for 4 months, something like that. And I was just like, okay, like what I'm doing wrong, why I'm not improving, but like what is happening? But I think I was just like building this foundation and in the last like I mean at the start of the year I made like a promise to myself and I promised that I would become the best poker player that I could be. So I really started like dedicating way more time and energy towards poker. I mean, before I was already playing like a lot, but
Mhm.
not studying enough and not paying enough attention to my performance. I think I was just like autopiloting a lot, and my results definitely changed considerably when I
Nice.
started paying more attention into my performance. So this is like a big game changer. But I think like from day one of the mentorship, I already like learned so much. Uh, there was a lot of things that I was doing and that I thought were right, but turned out they were like very wrong. And
Mhm.
sometimes I was even like a little bit reluctant to admit, and I was still thinking that I was right.
So you mentioned that you decided to be more dedicated at the beginning of the year, and also that you kind of improve your performance, improve your focus, and basically you approach the game more on a professional level. Do you
Mhm.
think that the mentorship and the group and the environment and I guess the coach brought this in you, or you were inspired to do it, or like why do you think this changed?
I always wanted to become a better poker player. I've been playing poker since I was 15,
Hmm.
but with like zero noticeable results since then. But and I always wanted to improve in what I could get with poker.
Hmm.
But like the mentorship, like definitely bring like the best of me, especially you, Jacob. You have like so much
Oh,
during this
thank you.
path, and yeah, you know that the beginning wasn't easy. There was like some tough months, and when we started, my bankroll wasn't that comfortable, so the swings affected me way more. But
Hmm.
like, let's say like in my defense, I ran like exceptionally bad in the first months. But I
Yeah.
mean, it's not an excuse, but it was also like a tough period where I couldn't handle like both financially and emotionally those
Hmm.
swings. After like I don't know exactly what happened, but it was just like like these, I suddenly started to have like really really good results, and I think this is basically like first you really have to build the foundation
Hmm.
and really go like step by step, and then yeah, some people would say like it's lucky, but damn, that's not lucky. That's a lot of work behind.
Yep, yep. And it's very targeted work, right? Did you have any
Hmm.
experience with coaching before the mentorship, and how would you kind of compare it with the mentorship methods?
So yeah, I had some other coaching experiences in the past, both like some, of course, some training sites like Run It Once, PLO Mastermind, that stuff. Also, some coaches paid by hourly, and other some and two other CFPs experiences. None of them were. I mean, one of them was actually okay, but didn't work out very well. And I mean, the experience with the mentorship itself is like really good. Since like day one, when like the first sessions we did were like really good, and I could see like right away that you were a very good poker player. First of all, like who really knows both like the theoretical approach and the exploitive, like how to exploit people and really understand like what people are doing, how we can take advantage of that. But I think like the biggest difference that I saw in the mentorship was like, of course, we are doing business and the goal is like to make money, but this is not like the main and the only goal in the mentorship. Like you really, it's very clear that you as a coach really want to see uh, your coaches to improve and get better as players, as poker players. So this is like, I think it was the biggest difference in. So like the experience becomes like so much better, and there's not like this massive pressure to get good results, to move up faster, and like sometimes carelessly. And so this is one thing that I really enjoyed since the beginning,
Hmm.
is this like you're willing to help and to see like the players get better, and just not like poker players, but I really saw that I became a better person in general in my life since we started working together. So this was like a very good experience.
So you said one thing about pressure to get results, basically that we are more like a long-term oriented. And I guess there is this
Hmm.
funny thing that after a few months where, your results were not that very good, you
Hmm.
actually offer to pay for my time, right? You felt
Yeah.
bad. You felt bad about
Yeah.
not slaying, and yeah, do you want to talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, it was a funny period. Like even though I didn't have much money to pay back then, but I was really feel like this some kind of guilt to not having like good results. I was working quite hard. I was always have been like a heavy grinder. Was playing like 30, 40K months, 30K hands monthly consistently. But for the first like 3, 4 months, I was like breaking evenish. So yeah, and I know like how your time is valuable, and you could have made like a lot of money by playing instead of coaching. So I was like feeling a little bit guilty to not having good results, but you were like always there for me, always helping me, even through the tough moments, like during the downswings where there was like even times where I think like I could end up busting my role. So that was like really helpful. And yeah, you always knew like the it would turn around. Not exactly when, but eventually. So like having this trust and Um, Someone knowing that things will turn around eventually is really helpful.
What I had in mind was that, like, okay, some people they will not make money, other will make money. So I didn't feel obligated to, get compensated. And luckily it worked out. So I guess can you talk
Mhm.
about recent results or like how your results develop? Um,
Yeah. So during the first months of the mentorship, I was like, as I said, barely, almost like breaking evenish, not having any significant results. But all changed this year. In, let's say, I think in January I made 6K. February was something like that. March was 10. Was, I think it was like March when things really changed. I made like, I think it was 8 9K. And April I won 14, 15K, but the best result so far was last month where I made like over 18K. And this is like almost a dream coming true because I really wasn't expecting that. And I mean, 10K monthly for me would be like amazing already, but making over 18K was just like, oh my God, this was almost like life changing. Not exactly like life changing money, but um, like a life changing experience where I always had like this dream to make over 100K in a month in my currency, reais, which is, yeah, I made 104K last month in reais, which is over 18K. So it was really a dream becoming true. So yeah, I knew it was coming eventually, but I certainly didn't thought it would come so soon.
So let me just paint you a picture of a lot of poker players. So there are two types of poker players that just play a lot, and even when they win, they even play more, or maybe when they lose, they play less. This is more kind of a rare case, but most of
Mhm.
poker players, they once they start winning, a lot of their motivation goes down, and they just start procrastinating. So what's your experience?
I mean, I already been like this guy that once I'm winning, I usually was when I was playing on the apps and I was making like finishing the settlement every Monday. So let's say it's Wednesday and I'm up like more than usual. I was
Hmm.
usually stopped playing and start back on Monday, but this was like long time ago.
Hmm.
Uh, but right now, I mean, I've always been like a heavy grinder. I really like to play. So now doesn't matter that much if I'm winning or losing. I mean, when I'm losing, for sure, I think I my tendency is to play more and trying to make it back. But even if I'm winning, like I still really enjoy playing. So last month, like the best month ever, I still played like probably over 160, 180 hours in the month. So yeah, even
Quite a
like
bit for
winning
sure.
a lot. Yeah.
How do you balance studying and playing? And have you achieved a good life balance, or do you feel like life balance must is put on hold for now, and basically poker is takes the priority over a lot of things?
Yeah. Like in regards to studying and playing, as I said, I've always been a heavy grinder. I love to play, but I think I could improve how much I study. I think it's usually like I play like 90% of the time and study 10%. And this is one thing that the mentorship helped me
Hmm.
because I have like some separated hours to study, like in our sessions, in group sessions. And I also try to study like at least 2 or 4 hours weekly, like reviewing hands, looking my mistakes, where I can improve, where the population is like, what are they doing wrong? How can I exploit that? Regarding like my personal life, I think it's not very balanced, to be honest.
Mhm.
But my goal is to play like uh, to play a lot for the next this year and next year, so I can really build like a safe role and possibly live from dividends. Try to be settled for life. Of course,
Mhm.
it's not that I'm not gonna play anymore, not gonna work, but I really see this like a golden period for me where I really have like to squeeze that and get the maximum from it.
So you mentioned a bunch of things, but the one thing which really struck with me was that you have pretty clear goal with poker. So I guess maybe that's kind of explains why you keep playing even after a big month. So I guess a lot of people, their goal is to not losing or not be losing poker players, or let's say the goal is to beat certain stakes like 1-2 or
Mhm.
2-5. So once they beat a certain stakes, well, now they don't have any more goals. So then the motivation drops. And this is something which I try to, it's really hard to change because you have to find out what's your goal, but that's something which is very important to set up. So seems like you have very clear goal gaining the financial freedom, which actually the mentorship is the primary goal is also this one. And I think every player should have this goal because, well, we, as you said, we don't know how long will be poker around, and we don't know what is there in store for us in future. So actually earning few $100,000 could basically be enough to at least help you to transition to something else in future, which doesn't need to be necessary for money. And this one is a little bit tricky
Mhm.
because on one side we get the urgency of like, okay, there is this golden opportunity. But on the other side, it has a downside that we kind of feel that we have to sacrifice everything for that. And with poker, it can work, but it might be the hard way or hard path. And you kind of maybe know it by yourself when often you just put insane amount of hours. And many times in our session, we would spoke about like, okay, how would your results or how would your earning potential really change if you grind 30% less? And often we come to a conclusion that okay, you would earn 5 to 10% maybe less, but you would be more relaxed, or you would increase your uh, quality of life. But of course, I found it personally that it's really hard to strike the right balance between playing a lot and resting. So yeah, this is something which I
Yeah,
see struggling.
yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I really think if I played a bit less, my results would probably improve. Not exactly my results, but my performance. Like if
Mhm.
I played 30% less, I would make only 10% less in the end of the month. But right now, I think I'm in a moment where I'm enjoying like so much playing, and even when I'm like outside of poker, I was just thinking like, I could be grinding and could be. It is like a fun experience to me. Like it's really enjoyable to be playing. I mean, of course, there are some nasty days where I only lose and everything goes wrong. But overall, the feeling of getting better and winning, I think like winning can become like an addictive feeling. It's just so good. It feels
For
so good
sure.
to win.
Can you name some of mistakes you were making before that cost you a lot of money? Maybe after you fixed and okay, like suddenly your results improved so much. And when we discovered one of these mistakes, you were like, what the fuck? Why I was leaving so much money on the table?
Hmm. In a lot of spots, I was just like end up being a massive calling station because I felt like, so this guy raised from early position. He doesn't have like 4 or 5, so he never has a straight here. I'm gonna call. But it turns out that yeah, he doesn't have like that many 4 or 5, but sometimes he does. And uh, in those in some situations, like how they play, they kind of always not like always have it, but they they have it more often than they do not.
Mm-hmm.
So I really struggle like so much in with this aspect of the game. Sometimes I always felt like, not always, but sometimes I felt that I was the whale in the table, not like the crusher.
Mm-hmm.
And that switch like pretty fast when I'm joining the mentorship, because once you start to developing this understanding of ranges and how they play in different boards and different textures, like your game just goes to another level. This like I remember there was like some guys when I was playing that they always seems to have it, like they always had, or at least that's what I thought. So, and having like my perception right now is that they just understood better how the ranges interact in these specific boards and those specific textures. So they were just like basically exploiting me, and there were nothing I could do at the moment. So that was like uh, really nice to, after a while, really understand. And this is like one thing I saw when I come back to the games that I'm playing right now, is that before there was like some guys that they always seem to crush me,
Mm-hmm.
but then I left, and now I come back and they just look like pretty easy to beat.
Mm-hmm.
And this is pretty funny and pretty nice experience after all. And yeah, I remember, I think was one of our first sessions, like probably first month or second month. And I told you that I was feeling like I was being bullied on the tables. And you said like, okay, let's study. And so you become the bullier.
Yeah. Yep. Cool. So basically, maybe when you're joining the mentorship, you play relatively well against the fish, but okay, this can kind of get you only to a certain level, and then you felt against the regs that they're kind of getting better of you. So I guess not surprising that regs make mistakes as well, and it was just about learning how to exploit them, and that's kind of what we worked on quite a bit alongside of just making your game more solid in general.
hmm Yeah, and I think this is one of the things in mentorship, and especially working with you, because in our sessions in when we work together, you always give like this theoretical view of like what would GTO do, and but like is this really the best approach against this specific guy? Sometimes the answer is yes, but sometimes the answer is hell no, because
Hmm.
let's say like some guys are like super wide or super tight, so we can heavily exploited by using a different strategy that is not GTO, of course,
Hmm.
but in the long run just makes like so much more money. And this is really helpful. Be also be like being able to think outside of the box. And this is, I think it's one thing we have to develop and get better as we move up in stakes. This
Hmm.
was my perception when I moved from 50 cents $1 to 1 2, like on stars and GG, on 50 cents $1 and even like 25 cents, 25, 50 cents. You just play like solid, straightforward. But once you get to higher stakes, you got to step up another level and always be like not just one, but two steps ahead. You got to be thinking uh, before the things happen. And this is a really important thing to improve.
And yeah, there is, I guess, there is just not that much material out there, so it's kind of scary to do
Hmm
this. I guess that's where a lot of people kind of get stuck. Well, yeah, but because they're kind of used to the same approach, and to to get out of this, you kind of need someone that okay teaches you new type of set of skills. But okay, there's just not that many people who are beating the higher stakes. So I guess that would kind of make
hmm
sense.
Yeah, and was like one of my biggest obstacles when before joining the mentorship, of course, that I was already playing like six card, but I was always looking online to see if I could find some content, some knowledge about how to play this game because there's just like no solver available yet. So like how how do I play this game? What is good, what is not, and what should my strategy look like? Like what is a solid strategy look like? And those were like questions I couldn't figure out. I mean, I have like some ideas, but I wasn't sure on any of them. So yeah, I struggled like a lot, but that definitely changed when we started working together. Like
Mhm.
having someone that knows what is good, what it's not, like go this way, don't go this way. It's just a massive difference.
You also played quite a bit on the regulated sites, right? On PokerStars and
Hmm.
GG. What was your
Hmm.
experience there?
From my experience, the field in general plays like quite different in each network. I mean, the difference are not as huge compared to tables with VPIP, but they are quite different overall. Skill wise, I don't know. I think, to be honest, it seems like everybody, like nobody actually knows exactly how to play six cards.
Mhm.
So it's really easy to spot like some massive leaks, even in the best regs. I mean, they are very good in a lot of spots, sure. But if you play for like uh, over 3,000 hands against them, you can easily spot some leaks in some spots. So this is this is like definitely a thing.
We had a discussion before we started this that basically that 1020 on GG Poker, which is like one of the highest public games running, even the best players playing the games, they are not necessarily six card specialists. They often you can see them playing five card and six card. So actually you can get substantial edge against them because while they have to split their focus between two games, and from my personal experience, it's impossible to compete at a high level uh, in these two games. And just the fact that they play at the same time both five card and six card PLO means that there's just a lot of edge still in the games. And actually, currently six card PLO might be the game with the biggest EV out there on the public games. And of course, that's pretty inspiring. Of course, other sites outside of PokerStars don't offer six card yet, but we'll definitely will see more sites offering six card as well. Having a group of dedicated players that like in mentorship actually gives you a lot of edge because okay, now also you interact with other players which are the best players basically at mid stakes. So they might have different opinions certain about certain hands, which kind of gives you different perspective. And also now you not only grow as a poker player from my coachings, but also but from the interaction with other people. So if you have group of people who are extremely motivated and who are good, who work towards one goal in a game that is new, then rising up to the top is so much faster and possible compared to, let's
Hmm.
say, No Limit, where there are people who are playing the game for 10 years and they basically you can memorize things in No Limit in PLO. It doesn't work that way. Well, in six card there is over 20 million starting combinations, so having the experiences and having someone that tells you what works and doesn't work is so powerful. One thing which kind of stuck in me was that prior to the mentorship in 2023, you played multiple games, that you play all the PLO formats, try to kind of just look for soft games and make some money for yourself. So I guess what really changed is that you really abandon everything, and even when we started mentorship, you really abandon all kinds of variants and formats, and we really focus on one format, which was six max, regular tables, and we really just drill this for several months until you're like really good. And then with that knowledge, you can expand to the other type of the game. So do you think that this type of specialization has helped you a lot?
Yeah, without a doubt, because it's really hard to get better in all formats. And if you're playing like, if you are dividing your attention in various formats, it's really hard to get good. So when we focus in only one format and getting like really good, the progress is much faster and possible because I don't think it's possible to get good in various formats at the same time. It requires like a insane amount of time and effort that it's not like humanly possible. And I mean, it could be possible, but it's just not worth it. You know, it's just not worth it. If you can get better in only one format, this is certainly the way to go.